All right, all new this morning, a man who's supposed to put others behind bars is waking up behind them himself.
Yeah, that man with 30 years of law enforcement service to Miami-Dade County is facing several charges, including false imprisonment and battery, after investigators say he picked up a victim from Club 11.
CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner joins us live now from the jail in West Miami-Dade with what we can expect today. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I did read through the arrest report this morning, and it says that Daniel Chala met someone at Club 11. That's where they began flirting and decided to go back to his apartment. That's when the arrest report says things took a dark turn. Take a look at this. What you're looking at right now is the mugshot for Daniel Chala. The arrest report says early Monday morning, once they got back to Chala's apartment, the two began kissing. That's when the witness told investigators Chala placed his arm around her neck and continued to hold a tight grip. The victim said that she begged Chala to stop, but he continued to apply pressure. That's when she dropped her weight down to the floor and he continued to grasp her neck and head, and she started crawling backwards until she reached the front door. The victim ran to neighboring apartments for help until someone opened. That Good Samaritan described blood coming from the victim's mouth. When police arrived at the unit, they added that she had visible marks on her neck and chin, a broken pinky nail, and a partially broken ring fingernail. We reached out this morning to MDSO to confirm that Daniel Chala is a lieutenant, but the arrest report states his profession is a police officer, and a quick Google search of his name pulls up this. This post on X is from about 9 months ago, where you can see a deputy named Daniel Chala being awarded for 30 years of service. Chala did speak to investigators and said he refused to lay down with the victim and that she walked out of his apartment. Now, Chala did deny all allegations against him.
Shakeup in the city of Mesa's Park Rangers unit. The unit will now be under the command of Mesa PD after police records allege park rangers mistreated people who were homeless and passed around an internal GOON SQUAD patch.
Right now, the city confirms an investigation is underway. Here's ABC 15's investigator Nicole Grigg with the details.
This is a photo of all the park rangers posted by the city of Mesa last year. We have blurred all their faces, and we are only identifying one person at this time because he is the only one who has been arrested. None of these rangers are patrolling the parks tonight, and you're about to see why. They called themselves the GOON SQUAD, and City of Mesa park rangers could allegedly earn a patch as a makeshift reward for gooning. What is that? A 60-plus page police report alleges that some rangers would go out gooning, and they would plan on beating up black people and the homeless.
My client was a park ranger.
Last week, a Mesa park ranger was arrested accused of possessing a stolen gun.
Mr. Amato, you were arrested yesterday.
Joshua Amato facing a felony charge. The Mesa police report alleges that a park ranger overheard Amato and another ranger saying they took a pistol off a person they described using a racial slur.
He and his partner were out doing their job.
Mesa police were called to the ranger station where they say they found the gun in Amato's desk. He claimed it was taken from a man experiencing homelessness and he forgot to turn it in. But this investigation is about more than just the gun.
So today, there's no park rangers here.
There is not. I haven't seen a park ranger vehicle.
The ABC 15 investigators confirmed that the Mesa Police Department will now take over the city's park ranger unit, as several rangers are under investigation for allegations of criminal activity. This woman lives in Mesa. She's against police taking over command of park rangers.
And to me, it's like Mesa always promotes itself as a transparent, community-first city. But how can that be true when there's a major decision happening quietly behind the scenes? And it's all based on internal meetings, not public consensus.
The investigation alleges that some rangers went beyond the scope of their job duties, along with accusations of excessive force. It looks into concerns of drugs being confiscated and not turned in, whether there have been any sexual encounters involving rangers while on duty, and the alleged creation of novelty patches and challenge coins. Park rangers do not have body cameras, so we do not have video of the alleged gooning. We do know that Mesa police did take a patch into evidence. The city wants to make clear that the city does not condone the existence of a goon squad patch, saying they're deeply disturbed by the preliminary findings of an ongoing investigation into allegations of criminal activity and any wrongdoing. They go on to say several park rangers have been placed on administrative leave, and the ranger facing a felony charge has now resigned. We will continue to follow up as this investigation plays out. I'm investigator Nicole Grigg, ABC 15, Arizona.
Nicole, thanks. City of Mesa would not say how many park rangers are under investigation, but they did confirm they've also initiated an external independent investigation. Now that Mesa PD is taking over command, we're told rangers will go through the same background checks required of all new Mesa PD personnel, and they will be given body cameras in the future.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We're going to start it out looking at this guy. Seems like a standard day here on the Bad Apple Report because this Jefferson County correctional sergeant has been indicted for official oppression after pepper spraying handcuffed inmates. Let's just take that all in. Just like every day on the Bad Apple Report. What's so special about this guy? Well, his name is Sergeant Clayton Friddle. He's age 33. Friddle. Friddle me this. How has he bonded out? Well, he's bonded out at $2,000 per count. Didn't say how many counts. Wonder if his bond was like 200 grand. Anyways, Jefferson, Texas, a Jefferson County Correctional Officer Sergeant was indicted this week on charges of official oppression after supervisors discovered video evidence of him repeatedly using pepper spray on handcuffed or restrained inmates, according to Sheriff Zena Stevens. Okay, Zena. Clayton Friddle is his name. As we said, he's 33 and he recently was promoted to sergeant. He's been terminated roughly 2 months ago following the internal investigation. Okay, what's going on really? Sheriff Stevens said supervisors conducting routine video reviews spotted troubling behavior, which led to a deeper look into his conduct. It was discovered that Friddle was involved in, quote, several acts of official oppression as a public servant under the color of his employment and as a correctional officer, and that subjected inmates to mistreatment, unquote. Again, quote, this is the sheriff talking. While reviewing some of the video footage, we noticed some behavior that he was overusing, in my opinion. Pepper spray with inmates, Sheriff Stevens wrote. Oh, Zena, is that your opinion? That's her opinion. Quote, after going back and reviewing even more footage, a lot of the inmates were restrained that he was pepper spraying. Oh, she sounds so surprised, you guys. Zena. Do your job, Zena. That's what she's doing right now. In retrospect. Okay. Stevens said the department did not receive any complaints from inmates, but launched the investigation after noticing the pattern during standard video checks. Wow, they were just watching this for a period of time. Well, nobody's complaining. Okay. Quote, when it was brought to my attention, we immediately did an internal affairs investigation, she said. Quote, within days, he was suspended even before he had the disciplinary review hearing. I suspended it because I was afraid for that behavior to exist. Okay, methinks you protest a little too much there, Zena. She knew something, didn't she? Okay, I think she's probably getting out ahead of a lawsuit, perhaps. Covering her butt. Possibly. Anyways, Stevens said the footage was reviewed for not just Friddle's body cam, but also from cameras inside the dorms where he worked. The case was turned over to the district attorney, which brought to a grand jury. Sheriff Stevens said she ultimately agreed with the recommendation to terminate Friddle. Oh, waited till the grand jury said, get rid of that guy. Anyways, quote, we took the case. We also took it over to the DA because I thought the behavior was so concerning, she told the News. Quote, they heard the case. They made a recommendation of termination. I terminated him. Whee! Okay. The grand jury later indicted him. It says, quote, the grand jury agreed with me that the behavior was extreme and that they indicted him on official oppression, she said. Quote, I'm saddened at any time anyone has to lose a job. Oh, my Lord. This is the goofball sheriff talking. I'm saddened anytime that somebody gets in our profession and hurts our credibility with this behavior persists. She is so full of crap, you guys. But the good thing is we identified it and we're self-correcting it. Whoa! Pat yourself on the butt, lady. Okay, there's a bunch more of her just yammering on. And no, it doesn't tell us how many counts this goofball had to pay to get out on. But anyways, she's a bad apple, he's a bad apple, and that's it.
We're learning new information this morning about the arrest of a firefighter accused of arson in Millersville.
Now, these charges come after an investigation by the TBI. So Jaxie Pigeon shares some new details just into the newsroom. Jaxie?
Well, Mark and Nikel, it was just after midnight on Thursday when Millersville police found 2 vehicles engulfed in flames in a parking lot off Woody Lane in Millersville. According to arrest documents, Millersville volunteer firefighter Christopher Roach intentionally set a Range Rover and BMW on fire. Investigators used trail camera video to find Roach. They say he was seen in a button-up uniform shirt inside the Range Rover before it was set on fire. It was determined he was the only person in the area at the time. Officials later found Roach in his truck and say he was on duty that night. The 2 vehicles damaged are estimated to have a total value of $30,000. This morning, he's in the Sumner County Jail charged with vandalism and arson.
Allegations of harassment against the St. Louis City Sheriff reaching a critical point today.
A former deputy is now asking a judge for an order of protection against the sheriff. Fox Files investigator Chris Hayes joins us live. Chris, any decision yet from the judge?
Andy, Jasmine, no, not yet. The judge is taking it under advisement. This was an extremely unusual courtroom scene today in which a former St. Louis Sheriff's deputy asked for court-ordered protection, not from a criminal, but from the sitting St. Louis Sheriff. This is surveillance video obtained by Fox 2 showing the latest incident that a former St. Louis Sheriff's deputy calls harassment. This is from Wednesday, April 16th. And it's St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery showing up at the former deputy's new job in St. Louis County. Former Deputy Darrell Wilson says it's the second time Sheriff Montgomery has shown up at Wilson's new job since Wilson left the sheriff's office. Each time, the former deputy said Sheriff Montgomery tried sabotaging his new job. The first time involved a case we covered in February, in which Wilson says the St. Louis sheriff showed up at his outside security job and demanded his gun. This was a security job at a gas station that also had nothing to do with the sheriff's office. The sheriff had no comment as he came and went from this hearing. Again, the judge is taking it under advisement. Sheriff Montgomery did take the stand in which he said that his behavior was appropriate in both cases, that in the security episode, he was trying to make sure that job was done correctly. And in this most recent case, when he visited the St. Louis County Courthouse, he said he was concerned about alleged horseplay the former deputy was conducting himself in when visiting the St. Louis City Courthouse. Again, we'll let you know what the judge decides. He said it could be as early as tomorrow.
I'm beginning to think cops sure do get in a lot of trouble with the law, especially these sheriffs. Power just goes right to their head, I guess. But this guy, what a goofball. He's a Louds County Sheriff, Chris West, and he was slated to go on trial April 10th to face charges related to his June 2024 incident. But the hearing, set to begin at 9 a.m. before Judge Kamisha Logan at the Hayneville Municipal Court, was postponed due to a family emergency experienced by the case prosecutor. And that prosecutor is Amardo Wesley Pitters. Okay, sorry to hear about your troubles there, Pitters, but let's get it underway. It says, according to the town's magistrate, Tamara McCord, Logan reset the hearing for May 8th at 9 a.m. We're going to find out what's going to happen with this guy, but the hearing resulted from 2 separate warrants, harassment and obstructing of government operations. That's what that sheriff did, allegedly, and that's sworn against West by County Commissioner Robert Harris in February. In a complaint Harris filed in Hayneville on August 24th, 2024, the commissioner alleges the sheriff interrupted a commission meeting and threatened commissioners with arrest. A warrant was issued for West in August, and West's most recent trial appearance is a renewed attempt by the town to prosecute the sheriff. That's great. On March 12th, West's attorney Richard Rice filed a motion with the Hayneville Court to dismiss the latest charge, and we don't really care. And there's a bunch more about that, but that's kind of funny. All right. He allegedly did a power trip on the town, and the town said, not so fast. All right. Let's move on with the show.
I want you to imagine a truck crossing multiple lanes of traffic and just barely missing you on the sidewalk. So you turn to run the other way, but minutes later, and now you're the one in handcuffs. It's been almost 2 years, and Sasha Palmer says that she still can't bring herself to watch what you're about to see. But she says that it's what you hear that at times is even more alarming. It's not hard to tell why this stretch of Bell and Murfreesboro Road would be considered one of the busiest and sometimes even dangerous intersections in Nashville. But that's far from the only reason Sasha Palmer now avoids this place at all cost.
Were you inside the car by any chance?
That's Palmer entering the frame of this body camera footage from 2023, where in a matter of seconds, she's placed in handcuffs and escorted across 4 lanes of busy traffic without much explanation.
Okay, I'm gonna pat you down and run my car, okay? I understand.
All this for Metro Nashville police to say they made a mistake.
It's a mistake, it happens.
Turn around, I'm gonna take the cuffs off of it.
For all that happened in this 12-minute encounter, it may not be easy to imagine, but this was once a place where Palmer found peace. Walking became one of the few things she could do to grieve the loss of her uncle. Now, even stepping foot outside brings back a time she would rather forget. What keeps you from watching the video?
Because every time I talk about the situation, it makes me want to cry. Even thinking about it, even recalling it, that's why I don't watch the video. I just don't want to have a breakdown.
Metro Nashville police had been chasing this stolen truck when the driver crossed multiple lanes of traffic before just barely missing Palmer on the sidewalk.
Initially, I thought the person in the truck was maybe having like a medical emergency, but they got out the truck and they ran.
Palmer panicked and ran the other way while police tracked down the driver.
Hey man, we're gonna put the dog on you, you better stop!
Officers eventually arrested the driver, a young black man, but that's when attention turned to what they thought was a black female accomplice.
01, did you see a female get out of the vehicle? Negative, I did not.
Officers in the police helicopter said 3 different times that they did not see a female leave the truck, but it took only one witness.
Sergeant, your suspect's gonna be a heavy-set black female with afro.
For Sergeant Michael Sloaner to disregard what everyone else had said about treating Palmer as a possible victim.
Hey, 30, yeah, detain her. She came out of the truck. I've got a witness.
Palmer was now in handcuffs just a few blocks down the road. Meanwhile, Sergeant Sloaner was still here asking questions of his witness. Now, I want you to listen closely to how the witness responds.
Okay, where did she come out, driver's side or passenger side?
I didn't see, honestly.
The same witness that landed Palmer in handcuffs just admitted he did not see her get out of the truck. Sergeant Sloaner doesn't relay this to his fellow officers. In fact, he says the opposite.
So she was in it?
Uh-huh.
Because I thought someone said she was.
You can hear and even see some of the skepticism from some officers. Meanwhile, others
You can open this. She was in the vehicle.
now seem certain that Palmer was a suspect. The moment officers found a gun in Palmer's bag, she said it began to sink in that she may not get out of this. Remember, Palmer still has no idea what's being said over the radio and by some witness down the road.
I actually thought I was going to jail because they had my items that I had on me in bags.
But this time, officers in the helicopter and those scrubbing through nearby security cameras were adamant that this was a mistake.
Cop is not involved in this. She was almost run over by the vehicle as it ran through the intersection.
You can see the reaction on these officers' faces after what they just heard, but by now we had heard multiple times over that Palmer had nothing to do with the suspect down the road.
I wasn't involved in it. I'm taking a break from work and you're arresting me for what?
It was really disheartening because if they had really seen what had happened, they would have known that I was innocent.
You know how embarrassing this is? I walk every day over here. I own a home over here.
Ma'am, I understand, but you have to look at it from our point of view.
It's like they were trying to get me to say, yes, I understand how this could have happened on camera. And
Think about it. You got all these police coming over the hill. A truck just crashed. He's running.
Yeah, but y'all don't see the damn man. man? You think
We did get the man.
Palmer believes that had she been a 40-year-old white woman running away from what happened, there's a good chance we wouldn't be having this conversation. Since she was the same race as the suspect police arrested, Palmer said this made her an easy target. Do you believe your race played a factor in all of this?
I most definitely do.
Palmer filed this lawsuit against Metro Nashville Police, claiming officers Holly Ginaldi, Officer Charles Agius, and Sergeant Swoner violated her rights against false arrest and illegal searches. This was after the complaint she filed with the Office of Professional Accountability, where they ultimately exonerated Ginaldi and Agius, claiming their search was justified based on what they knew to be true at the time. As for Swoner, it's not clear why, but he was not a part of the OPA investigation.
I just never thought something like this would happen to me, and since I know it's racially motivated, I feel like it's my duty to speak up and speak out.
But what motivates Palmer to do interviews like this that she has no intentions of watching is knowing that the peace she worked so hard to find may have nothing to do with taking another step on this road and everything to do with speaking up.
And I speak up because it could have been a little girl. It could have been a little boy walking down the street, but instead it was me. And for that fact alone, I don't take it back. I don't take back what happened to me because I'd rather it be me than a child or anyone else to experience that.
Metro Legal denies Palmer's allegations and says they stand by the officers for acting on the information they had in this, quote, fast-moving investigation. Metro Nashville Police would only comment to say Ginaldi and Agius are still with the department. Meanwhile, Swoner retired last year in good standing. With News Channel 5 Investigates, I'm Levi Ismail.
We made it through another show. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you for being here to watch the Bad Apple Report with me right here every morning. I will be missing a couple of mornings coming up, but I'll be thinking about you guys. I'm pretty sure I'll be here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early, but if not, I'll see you very soon. I hope you have a great day.